Hello, everybody, and welcome to the February edition of our podcast. We still don't really have a name for it yet. I was thinking maybe the Variable Podcast. We might change it based on whichever episode we're doing. But right now, it's the Brocast. Yeah, we're Brocast.
Brocast.
Yeah, it's Broforce.
Even though none of us are actually related at all.
Yeah, well, no, it is. PS Plus. If you guys, PS Plus members, you saw a vote to play this month. Broforce was one of the voting, one of the ones that people could vote for. And as soon as I saw it, I knew it was going to win. And it won with 47% of the votes. So that's pretty impressive. So March 1st, that's launching. So if you guys are PlayStation Plus, pick that game up. It's really great, really funny. Got all the 80s action guys like, Slice, Schwarzenegger, Lundgren, Mr. T, all the great ones. I think it got the guy from Matrix.
Yeah, it's got Neo from the Matrix.
They even got Blade, the vampire killer from the Marvel movies.
So they got a lot of stuff, and I don't know if they'll be adding characters later, but me and Diego might probably stream that in a week. And if you guys ever watched any of the other videos on our channel, like the Rocket League video, you might be familiar with Carl. So Carl may join us if we can get him in there. Maybe difficult.
Oh, by the way, I actually heard they're adding the Batmobile to Rocket League.
Wow.
The one from the new movie.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, Rocket League they do a lot of promotional stuff with other games, like even Blacklight Retribution, which we may discuss a bit later. They have some like Rocket League stuff and crossovers, and some Blacklight stuff is in Rocket League. But anyways, also beginning of this month, you got XCOM 2 released on PC. All I'm going to say about that is go check out other people's videos. Majority of people say it's really great. Thing is. It's got really great support for it because the modders have already came in and done some like stormtrooper mods in it to make your soldiers look like stormtroopers. And the game already has like superior customization to the previous XCOM game in the base version of it. So that game could go a long ways and could evolve quite a bit over time with the modding community. But just go and pick it up if you're XCOM fan at whatever price seems reasonable to you. But the big news of this month was GameTrailers shut down. Going for 13 years.
Those poor GameTrailers people.
Yeah.
I'd seen them by and by, but I actually never looked.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I know some other YouTubers were saying, like, oh, people are, like, saying, it's a shame that they're gone, but then they're like, but you guys were never there to, like, watch them when they needed the support most. But,
I was just like, I heard of them vaguely, but...
Yeah.
That's why they shut down.
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, because they were one of the ones that started, but then YouTube and like IGN and GameSpot, all these bigger ones that had more backing behind them, kind of took over. But GameTrailers produced a lot of original content and stuff. But if you guys want to know the full scoop from somebody actually on from GameTrailers, I forgot it's Jones. I think it's Matt Jones, his name. Anyways, go watch the Co-Optional Podcast, the most recent episode. It's like episode 112, and at the beginning of that, they have him on there. So on Total Biscuit's channel, and he kind of discusses briefly what it is. It was basically they used to be owned, or under Viacom, and then like, I can't not think of what the new ones are called. Starts with a D. Crap. Anyways, I can't think of what they're called, but they were, or Defy Media. Anyways, is who they are. So they were under them, but they kind of did see it coming. But they didn't know when it was going to come. But they figured eventually like it was going to shut down. So he's optimistic about it, and they apparently get together. So if you guys have watched GameTrailers, they may be up to some good stuff in the future. That's all I have to say about it. But the website, keep in mind, the website is not completely shut down. They still have stuff on there, like their Firewatch review. They put that on February 8th, which was like right when they shut down, or I think they still uploaded to the site. But it was actually like the day or two after. But they only had like a couple hours notice anyway, so it was just like, doing their jobs, and it was like, hey, we're shutting down. And then that at the end of the day, like that was it. So it's pretty bad. The only interaction I had with GameTrailers is like for the E3 coverage that we've done on the channel. I pulled like all the game clips, like GameTrailer clips off their website. It's GameTrailers. So yeah. Okay, moving on from there. Got some very interesting news, and this is what I've been holding this back from Diego for a while. You finally get to know.
Nice. Right. Don't let it underwhelm me.
I'll put a drum roll in post.
Nice. There we go. Drum roll for right now.
It's
I
happening.
swear, if this isn't awesome,
So
I'm gonna be so mad.
I don't know if you say it's awesome, but anyways, as you may recall, when the PlayStation launched, there was a free-to-play title that was going to launch on it called Deep Down.
Oh yeah.
And there is some development, some news that came up on it recently. That Capcom is being developed by Capcom. And in case you guys don't know, it's kind of like a medieval, like Knights and Dragons type stuff, dungeon. So it looked pretty cool, but it was just some cinematic, teaser trailers. That was all we saw. But Capcom has renewed the trademark for that game for the 4th time. And the way trademark, when you're not monetizing it, you're not selling it, you have 6 months to renew a trademark. Or you have, the trademark's good for 6 months, if you're not selling it. And this is the 4th time, and you can renew it up to 5 times, and then after the 5th time, so they basically have a year, because they renewed it for the 4th time. If they renew it one more time, so I think it's by February 11th, if they do not have the game released by then, or starting to sell it in some way, then they will not be able to, they'll lose the trademark for it. That doesn't mean the game wouldn't come out, but they would have to release it under a different name. But still, there's been no other developments on it, so there's still hope for it, but it looks really cool. I think it would be the most unique free-to-play game that would be on the PlayStation platform, and in fact, it's an exclusive. So I really hope they get that made. But what do you think about that, Diego? Are you still looking forward to it?
Well, I mean, from the further actual gameplay footage that I saw, it seems rather different than when the trailers, portrayed.
You've actually seen gameplay of it?
Yeah, there was some release.
Oh, I never actually watched gameplay of it.
It seemed pretty interesting in some respects, though the cinematic trailers had slight amounts of gameplay in it, but not very much. Basically, I thought there was going to be a wider selection of characters, but in the gameplay that was shown, everyone was just a knight, but in very, very similar armor, but just slightly different colors, to make sure no one got confused with the players or anything like that.
So I don't know too much of it other than the fact that it's free to play and kind of the theme of it, but is it do you know if it's MMO, online stuff, or if it's story driven?
There was I saw, I think 4 players battling a single dragon opponent.
It's co-op.
And yeah, so the thing is that I only ever saw, I think, 2 types of opponents. One was this troll looking thing. It basically looked like a naked mole rat, but mixed with some kind of troll. And it just was very hideous looking. But, beyond that, I never saw too many variety of enemies. Nothing stand out too much.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw the trailer for it, though, it amazed me, the graphical.
Oh yeah, it was one of the things they were mainly using to push the PS4 when they first revealed it, but it still hasn't come out yet. Yeah. And a lot of titles around launch, as you might remember, Watch Dogs was supposed to come out there. It got delayed a month or so, or how long was it? I don't know. It was something like that. But as my speculation as to why it got delayed is probably because, as you may know, about a year ago, Capcom was in deep shit. They could have very easily went bankrupt if they had 1 or 2 more flop games. So, but they kind of recovered from that, and Street Fighter 5.
I hear that's successful. I don't know. I've been hearing a lot of issues with that.
There were a lot of issues, but it did sell pretty well. And there was something that came out a little earlier that kind of saved them. I forgot what it was. I feel like it might have been almost a card game or something. Anyways. So yeah, Deep Down, everybody. Keep your eye out for that in the coming year if you are interested in it. Well, now, the other big thing that happened this month was the 2 Division betas, the closed beta and the open beta. If you guys want to hear my thoughts, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. My thoughts, there's a couple videos on the channel, there's a stream, you can check that out. But the open beta, they changed some stuff, and I went over the changes, but I'm just going to share some statistics. Apparently, the Division could be the most successful new IP ever. Even more successful than Destiny, because right now number 1 is Destiny, number 2 is Watch Dogs. It's very interesting though, because I was talking with one of my other friends during lunch today, and he was saying well, technically the Division isn't a new IP, it's the Tom Clancy IP. And if you really think about it, Tom Clancy is the IP, like, it's like actually trademarked. So, but anyways, the Division though, of like a new franchise, it could be the most successful because 6.4 million players had played. I believe this was the open beta, not the closed beta. So getting somewhat close to 7 million. But the game I feel will probably do pretty good sales wise. Of course, the number of people playing the beta doesn't necessarily mean sales because some people could have like played the beta because it was. Diego can even attest to this, but even I've played it multiple times, probably spent a little over 20 hours in it altogether, and it's very minuscule. Like
the game is very teamwork based for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's definitely a fun element for anybody. But I don't know. It's not my type. Is all. Yeah, I can say about it.
He kind of had a bad experience. I don't know. So what would you say? Explain like what your biggest complaint with the game is.
Lack of anything really new.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people are describing it as very run-of-the-mill. It's not really anything interesting in it. Like, I would say that, Marshall, that's probably what you thought of it too, pretty much. It
was just, Best I could describe it.
Like, frankly, like, I was just, to me, like, post-apocalyptic is not really it's not really my genre per se. And, granted, whether this even falls under apocalyptic is slightly debatable. It is definitely a big epidemic.
It's more like Biohazard stuff, but yeah, it's kind of.
But it's just like post-apocalyptic environments to me always seem so bland and colorless that just, I don't know, it felt like just the same thing forever. Like,
at least it's got snow in this game. That's like the one thing that makes it look a little better, a little more interesting. But yeah, I think it's city too, because cities are traditionally like gray and brown colored. So, but aside from that, me and Diego were in the dark zone. He doesn't like you. Okay, you can talk a bit about your dark zone experience, I guess, just for like 30 seconds or something.
It was so good he couldn't say anything.
Well, I'm trying to think of words to describe. Well, it's full of two people, of course. Everyone's going to know this. The people who want to play nice, calmly, and friendly, and want to work together, and we all know the absolute jerks that just want to take everything you have as soon as an opportunity arises.
But I'll just interject real quick. I was very surprised, especially for it being the beta. I expected more of this in the full version, but in the beta, I was actually surprised how many people did want to cooperate with you. Although as the beta went on, I feel like people were like starting to like reach its limits, and they were trying to find a new challenge, and more people started going rogue and doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So I mean, not everybody's gonna like it. It's very much a blend though of like just RPG elements, but like it's part MMO because like half of the game is not MMO. You can do it in co-op, but then the Dark Zone is the MMO portion of it. So, some interesting statistics though from the beta. You guys might find this quite funny. This was for the closed beta, mind you, not the open beta, but 15 million bullets were fired. Very close to 15 million.
Damn.
A little less than 5,000 off. Or no, what did I say? Did I say 15 million? I meant 15 billion. 15 billion bullets.
Wow.
But here's a funny statistic. 7.84, actually nearly 7.85 billion car doors were closed. This means that there was nearly half as many car doors closed as bullets fired.
What?
Meaning for like every 2.5 bullets fired, somebody closed the car door. I feel like there was somebody who just like played the whole beta for like 100 hours and did like nothing but close car doors. In fact, I think one guy played the closed beta for like over 90 hours was their statistics. And Ubisoft was like, kind of like, wow, this guy's dedicated, but at the same time it was kind of like, really? You played our beta for that long? Type thing.
Yeah.
It's funny, but maybe that's what they did. They just went around closing doors, because that is insane. I mean, you're using fully automatic weapons too, fighting against real players and AI, and more like you only fired a little more than twice as many bullets as how many car doors you closed. Oh, it's hilarious.
I don't really know what that even means. Just
well, they closed it because in the Division, one of the crazy things when they showed off at E3, they you'd take cover behind a car. And then you walk across it and you close the car door if it was open when you went past.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Or even when you're walking past it, if you brush up against it, you'll close the door. So it's people must have found that so impressive that they just went around just closing tons of doors.
Or maybe just weird that you just touch a door even with your finger and it just closes.
Yeah. And this is there's trunks closed too and hoods and all that stuff. I even have a video. I'll probably put up kind of a joking video. So
I don't think we need to post a video.
I don't know.
Opening
but it's kind of funny. Just maybe it's a little joke. Also, before we get off the Division, you guys might have already heard about this, but on the consoles, the Division is actually getting graphic settings. So you can adjust, mainly to improve frame rate, but there's certain visual effects you can turn off. Already in the beta, the only kind of visual setting that I found interesting was you could adjust the sharpness of the image. And adjusting the sharpness of the image did not decrease the performance of the game, but it just made the game look a heck of a lot better. So I don't know why the sharpness is toned down to begin with. It just makes their game look more muddy and uglier. So.
Wow, you can affect the graphics?
Yes. Little taste of PC gaming for console players.
Wow.
Yeah. Not too intense, just get a little bit. Okay, now something else is interesting. This might intrigue you, Diego, although there's a little catch to it. So, Black Ops 3, they released up until, I think, March 1st, the end of February, you can take advantage of the Black Ops 3 starter pack. Costs $15 and gives you basically just the multiplayer. It's very limited. You can't do custom matches, you can't prestige, you can't do zombies or anything like that, but you basically just get the general multiplayer mode, being able to unlock your items and just play the different playlists. I don't think you can do private matches anyways, but you can play with your friends. Basically just the multiplayer stuff. So they're finally giving players the ability to just play the multiplayer, which is really good. However, this is the catch. It's PC only. And it was a shame because I was thinking I would actually maybe do that. For $15, I'd be willing to do that.
We'll see what happens with time. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe
if this becomes popular enough, it's definitely going to be spread over to get as much consumers out of it as possible.
I think the console market is less picky though. They know the console market will easily buy a $60 copy of that game with the single player, all the other stuff that they maybe don't want, more likely than a PC gamer would. Because a PC gamer would either be wanting this type of multiplayer only stuff more, or they would just wait for the game to go down on a Steam sale really cheap.
Yeah, PC players are really picky.
But I don't know, I think it's really, you buy so many games, I mean, Marshall can attest to this, it's almost like gambling. You're addicted to buying games.
Oh yeah.
And you buy
them and then don't play them. It's because they're cheap.
I'll tell you, I'm not even a PC gamer really. I'm going to go PC Master Race in the summer. But I've bought several games off of Steam, and there's still two of them I haven't even played. One of them being the first Witcher game, but mainly I wouldn't run it at that time. I bought that game for $1. So this is the next thing on the list, similar to what I was talking about XCOM 2, about the longevity of it and being able to improve it, with the mod support for it, is a trend that I've been noticing recently, and that is that a lot of MMOs, and maybe this is just kind of in their nature, but a lot of MMOs and free-to-play games have actually been really improving over subsequent years. They've been adding so much more content. Some examples, Destiny, now I'm actually probably going to buy it on the sale now. It's got more than twice the content that it has, had in the base game. War Thunder, has improved. They've added tanks over time. They're eventually going to add, probably in another year from now, add warships type stuff.
Yeah, a year, we'll see, because they're still not very much close done with tanks anyway.
Yeah, that's true. They still
For all we know, I have no idea whether they're all Japanese tanks because they seem to have a rule where the tanks that had to have been built in order to be in the game, and that rule may, take Japan out of the tanks in this because they did have a humongous variety of tanks that they were going to build in the war. That would have been quite imposing, but whether or not they will, be added is very doubtful because some were even mightier than the Tiger that they had planned.
Yeah, they'd be pretty much all paper tanks.
Yeah, all paper tanks. Because when it comes to machinery like that, Japan either likes to go light or go very big.
Yep. As evident, the Yamato is definitely evident.
The Yamato, they want to build a legend. They want to build something that's, how would I put it? Just that they feel encapsulates the entire spirit of their nation.
Yeah.
So. And what better than a battleship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, other games, Warframe is another game that's improved a lot over time. I remember, I haven't played it since I did, but I played it about 2 years ago. And it was kind of fun, but I didn't really play it for very long, mainly because other games came out around that time. But I've seen Total Biscuit, for instance, he covered it on his channel, and some other people that he'd been playing with. I watched some of it, and it has changed tremendously from what I remember. And Marshall played it even before me. Do you even really remember anything about your experience with it?
Not really. I play a lot of stuff.
I saw a bit of gameplay of it, but I never really cared for it.
Yeah. It's kind of it was like the PC's version of Destiny. A lot of people are saying Division is going to be the PC's version of Destiny, but I think as of right now, Warframe is the PC's version of Destiny. It's just third person.
I can only think of the few things Destiny and the Division really have in common because they're just
it's just
subjects.
Kind of like MMO RPG.
That's about all they have in common. But it just seems really.
But it's finally bringing that to console because consoles traditionally haven't had that type of games on there. Other games like Heroes of the Storm, that seems to have changed quite a bit. Although I haven't played it, but maybe not as much as some of the others. And recently I've been playing Blacklight Retribution. I'm the beta guy in that. I have everything baited out. Beta skins on my weapons, beta helmet, beta everything. I'm even going to buy a beta clan tag at some point. Proud of being the beta supporter. No. But the game, it changed a lot, obviously, since the beta, because it was just in beta testing. But the game has quite a bit of depth and customization. There's the different rewards you can get. And although it does seem very grindy, as it is free to play. But I don't know if I'd say it's pay to win. It's probably just grindy. It just takes you a little quite a bit longer to level up if you don't pay. Or not really level up, but just purchase weapons. So it's pretty even on that, because if you find a weapon that you're good with, you can just save up enough credits with playing several matches and purchase. Well, you have to do more than several matches to get that many credits. I don't know how many you started out with, though. I can't remember. But it just doesn't, the thing with the Division, or with Blacklight, is it's got the customization, but it doesn't really have a whole lot of variation in the gameplay. It doesn't add as much variation. I guess there's the hard suits and stuff, the mech suit things, but there's really not a whole lot. Since we're on that though, Marshall, what did you think of Blacklight overall?
It was fun, but it was kind of limited in the map choice because everybody plays on that one map. It seems like
Helo Deck, yeah. There's even they have a special game mode for 24/7 Helo Deck. I think the reason is because it's it's just a small map and some people like it, but
oh yeah, people love small
maps. But the thing is, there's not much verticality. It's just basically a big circle.
It's just all chaos.
Yeah, basically.
But there's much better maps in the game. And Diablo 3, although it's not an MMO, Diablo 3 is another game that people I know have mentioned is it's so much better. 3 years into it than it was when it released.
Oh, I thought you meant that you had to play it for 3 years for it to get good.
Well, if you got in there at the beginning, that was the case. But yeah, and then also probably Overwatch. I think Overwatch It's not really an MMO or free to play. It's not because it's going to release at like $40, but it's going to come to the consoles at some point. But I think Overwatch, they'll probably add some stuff that has like major esports potential, and they'll probably keep updating that game and change it up a lot. Even more than like War Thunder, we mentioned they add tanks and Warframes, like new weapons and stuff, and Overwatch maybe new weapons and characters. But like some of these games, they've improved even more than that. They've improved like netcode issues, so you can find matches better. They've added other maps, and they've changed the way the game mechanics. Like even War Thunder, they've like added, for instance, like the kill cam, if you will, where you can see where you get hit. They even updated, like they update something in everything that changes, gives you more feedback on like what part of your tank is damaged, what part of their tank did you damage.
Yeah,
and all
they're
that.
even gonna add in the future like more of your tank to get damaged per se, like more modules.
Yeah. I think War Thunder, honestly, out of the ones we mentioned, like War Thunder and Destiny, I mentioned those two. Actually, I didn't mention War Thunder second, or did I mention? I don't know. Anyways, but those two I think are the perfect examples because the value that they have, like a couple of years after they launched, is just so much better. War Thunder's been on the PC for a long time, but even like on its PC, time frame that's been out, it's improved even more than it has on the console. So. Those I think a lot of companies might start doing more MMO games like that, or like free to play games, because I feel like this day and age you're starting to be able to get more value out of them because you're going to get more support. Whereas other games, like you can still get like a really good game that has tons of content and it's good quality content, is The Witcher 3. But there's not very many other games like that do that. There are some of those games, but a lot of games are starting to not give you like the full other like online only, like Star Wars Battlefront didn't give you that much content, for instance. And some would argue Rainbow Six Siege, although the gameplay is solid, but I feel like personally, from what I've seen of it and what I've heard about it, it just doesn't seem like enough content for me. So I'm gonna have to wait a price drop on that. But I think we'll see a lot more free to play games, or maybe even models coming out where they allow you to pay less for a specific aspect of the game, like Black Ops 3's multiplayer. Which I think would be good. Like,
yeah, let's hope that's the start of something like that.
Next up, now this is kind of not really February news so much. It was kind of end of January, but Amazon announced that they are, if you have a Prime membership for this year only, I don't know if they'll do it in subsequent years, but for this year only, all new games, 20% off. That's pretty good. So, and the new game counts as first 2 weeks, so it doesn't matter if you pre-order or whatever. So it's 20% off on your $60 game. You may, and you don't have to put, if you have Prime, it's free 2-day shipping, and so there's like I guess tax on it probably. But yeah, $60 game without tax drops it down to $48. And of course, the only incentive that GameStop, what do you think? Like the only reason GameStop or Best Buy or Walmart has like for you to purchase it over purchasing it from Amazon is just pre-order bonuses. But like most of the pre-order bonuses that they offer, I'd rather pay just like $12 less than get that bonus. Unless it's like a soundtrack or something. But like you can download a lot of those soundtracks sometimes afterwards for free. Or they'll release them and you can just buy them. So, and obviously if they do this sooner or later, Amazon is going to get their own pre-order bonuses. And that's pretty much guaranteed. So, I'm definitely going to take advantage of this, although I probably will. I don't know if I'll buy Uncharted 4. I might get Uncharted 4 starting with that. But, like, Division, I'm definitely picking up from GameStop.
I completely forgot about Uncharted 4. My gosh.
Yeah, well, it got delayed again. I think it was originally it was going to come out in like January or December, something like that. But then it was like the second delay was like into March, and then now it's delayed to like April 21st or something like that. So, I have a nice multiplayer. But that's the other thing. A lot of people are, because Uncharted 2 multiplayer was fabulous. Uncharted 3, people didn't like it so much. It seemed like you, Diego, you played a little bit of that. I think you played more than I did of it. You didn't.
I only did co-op. I never fought any other players.
Okay. But most people didn't like Uncharted 3 multiplayer as much. I didn't really experience much of it, so I can't really say. But Uncharted 4, it's going to be even 60 FPS multiplayer, too. So, yeah. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's very reminiscent, very similar to Uncharted 2. I mean, in a good way. Next up, we're going to talk about Hitman's business model. So, as you guys may know, Hitman is coming out as a fully episodic franchise now. They're not calling it episodic, but they're referring to Hitman as like the initial thing, which is going to be the prologue and the first chapter, as the platform for the Hitman franchise. And they're releasing this intro pack, the prologue and the first chapter, for $15. I was thinking it was like $25 before, but it's $15, and then it'll be $10 for each additional chapter after that. And they're going to release it all over the course of a year. Now, the reason it's changed a little bit from before, because before it was just you were going to buy the whole thing and get it. Now they're giving you part of it, but here's the reason they're giving it in chunks, and I feel like this is bad. And I'm taking a little bit of this from what Total Biscuit said on the Co-op Show podcast. Yes, I listen to the Co-op Show podcast a lot. But he's basically talking about how it's basically just transferring the risk from the company to the consumer. And this is coming, if you know, I knew a lot about this before too, but as some of you may recall, Square Enix, back when, I think it was a single fiscal year where Tomb Raider, Hitman, and Sleeping Dogs, Hitman Absolution and Sleeping Dogs, all released within that fiscal year, or very, very close together within a little over a year's time frame. All of those, including the highest selling out of all of them, which was Tomb Raider, Square Enix deemed as commercial failures, and Tomb Raider sold 6 million copies. In the games industry, that is a successful game. Like, I would say even if you're selling like 2 million copies is on the low end, but like if you're selling like any more than 3 million copies, you have a pretty successful game there. Especially if you sell that within, and this is first 2 months, mind you. So they called that a commercial failure, which was crazy. So Hitman sold less.
Well, how does that compare to other games in the same time frame, like over 2 months?
Well, like for instance, Destiny, which is a really like high selling IP. I believe sold. I don't know what we were talking before. Well, I think this Tomb Raider was like 6. It might not have been 2 months. I think it was just that fiscal year. But Destiny, I think, sold like 6 million copies or something in like the first 2 weeks, or maybe like the first month. But like as we know, like Destiny is the highest selling IP of all time at this point. So yeah, but what this means though is that the Hitman series, this could be the last game, because at this point, I believe that Square Enix just doesn't have enough faith in IO Interactive that people are going to want their game, because they have these unrealistic standards. So they believe that IO Interactive like is not going to do it. So they're basically needing your money to continue development of the game. And if the game is not supported enough, this could very well be like, I would say that the game could even just be canceled in like mid-development, although I don't. With a AAA game, it's not as likely. Like Kickstarter, it's something like very easy. You can just like walk off people's money. But the game probably will get finished, even if it doesn't do very well. But this very well could be the end of the Hitman franchise if this doesn't do well for them. And it's somewhat similar to Absolution in its like presentation and everything, but it brings a lot of the sandbox elements back, and even like the apparently their smallest map, or like their average map in this game, is like something like 8 or 10 times the size of like the largest one in Absolution. So it is bringing back the big open sandbox. Okay, so real quickly before we wrap up this episode, some other stuff. In Bethesda news, Fallout 4, they gave more information about the Seasons Pass and stuff. So, are you going to pick up the Seasons Pass, Diego, or at least a portion of it later on?
Maybe. Just I took a look into the content of it a little bit, and there was some surprising stuff, but like it didn't seem as much as I was hoping for. But there was the big portion of it definitely is there too, because they're going to add like a whole different map area that you can actually explore. That seems to be a lot closer to be relating to areas around the water. I don't know whether there'll be stuff in the water, but
I don't think so, but maybe. There's lots of rumors about that. So, also, this is releasing for $25 standalone, keep in mind, and the Season's Pass was $30, so you might be like, hey, what's the math? But you guys have probably heard, if you've kept up on the Season's Pass, Bethesda is supposedly putting, like, I've heard $70 of content, $80 of content, something like that, but they're hiking the price up to $50 as of March 1st. So if you guys want to lock in, if you guys want that stuff, what you've seen so far, then you could lock in your Season's Pass if you buy it before March 1st at $30. So, and they're also going to add a survival mode with this, which should have been in the base game already, but it's not.
I'm really hoping
it was survival mode, but it basically just the only difference between the hardest mode and survival mode was that food just took longer to heal you. And in that mode, in like even hard mode, which I played the majority of the game on, like 75% of the game on, a lot of the enemies at lower levels became very bullet spongy. So. I don't know, they should have had it, because New Vegas was like really designed around that mode, but it worked perfect. It worked well either way. And guess what? Surprise! Bethesda is coming to E3 in 2016. I didn't think they would, because they wouldn't have anything to reveal. But what do you think they're going to reveal? You guys, I'll have you guys both share.
Probably
Bethesda, Skyrim 2.
Skyrim 2.
I wish, but that seems kind of.
It's possible. Like
I mean, it seems it's absolutely possible, but at the same time, they made Fallout 4, right?
Yeah, but they're generally they focus on one big game at a time.
Exactly.
At the same time,
that's kind of my idea.
Same time, they do have other teams working on like stuff like Dishonored, Doom, and Battle Cry, whatever. But
how big of an extra team is this?
Well. See, they're working on those, but it's like the main team is the one that alternates Fallout and Skyrim, so I don't think it's going to be, or Fallout and Elder Scrolls, so I don't think that's going to be the case. But, and Elder Scrolls Online, keep in mind, that's like a separate development team altogether. So I'm really looking forward to Dishonored 2 and all that, but like I'm really looking for, like I think it would be nice if Bethesda showed off some new IPs there. Apparently there's 3 games that they're working on, and maybe even a Rage 2. Because people, criticized Rage for like a terrible ending, but aside from that, the game was like pretty good looking, and it did recycle a lot of locations. But other than that, I think people just don't give the game enough credit.
Well, the ending is a big thing.
Yeah, that is true. Like even Mass Effect 3, a lot of people shit on Mass Effect 3 because like, oh, the ending wasn't very good. But it's kind of hard to like make all those choices matter after.
It's just like it can make or break a game an ending, in my opinion, because it's all your work is for this ending. It better be worth it.
Yep.
And if the game was amazing, but then you just have this bad ending, it's just, I don't know. It's like a stab almost.
Yep. Okay, I got 4 more things. Gonna touch on real quick. Real quickly, Ubisoft news. 2 things. Assassin's Creed is taking a break. And they are not releasing an annual Assassin's Creed game this year. So, yeah. Applaud Ubisoft. And it sounds like when it comes back, they're also not going to make it annual. But they are probably, it sounds like regular installments, but maybe not annual. So we might see one every other year. So hopefully the Assassin's Creed games will, come back and they can just make a comeback. People will like them more. And then also, apparently a new Watch Dogs game is supposedly supposed to be coming around sometime around March 2017. I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully they improve on, like Watch Dogs set an okay, baseline for the franchise, but they need to improve on it. They need to make it look better. I don't think we're going to get more accurate trailers from Ubisoft because they're just glorified hype pieces, but we'll see. And finally, 2 other interesting things. Rise of the Tomb Raider news. Have you tried Rise of the Tomb Raider out yet, Marshall?
Yeah, I started. I played, 2 hours, I think, of it? Yeah.
Does it run good on your 970?
Yeah, runs perfect. Highest graphics, everything. Works fine.
Sweet.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same game.
Yeah, well, guess what? PC sales have surpassed what Xbox One sales were, or they tripled first month Xbox One sales. And the game's only been out a little over a month on PC.
I'm not really sure whether that's surprising.
Yeah, I think it's because of Fallout 4 mainly. Like, Xbox One people are still like, we get an exclusive, but still, Fallout 4. But I think there might be more to it than that. I think also a lot of it has to do with that graphics card coming, because Marshall got it with his 970 free comp. I think a lot of that might factor into it. And then finally, the last thing, interesting news released, and this shows how healthy our games industry is and that it will keep going on. NPD, according to NPD and the ESA, they announced that, released information that the U.S. video game, this is just the U.S. video games industry, is worth approximately $23.5 billion at the moment. So,
some cash
we
money.
are part of a huge industry, and we'll keep getting tons of games. Whether they'll be good or bad, we'll see. But 2015 was definitely an improvement over 2014. So hopefully,
I'm curious, just a quick question. What is the best market country-wise for games?
U.S.
Yeah.
And then second, it's like Japan. Is second.
I would imagine.
I don't know what third would be. I don't know how much. Do you know how much China has changed since they?
China, I wouldn't assume has a big market in video games.
Yeah.
They have them. They have them, no doubt. But it's not as big as it would be. Not necessarily just because they don't have access. It's just I don't think they seemingly show much interest, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, because they were kind of like the console ban in China for 10 years. People just it wasn't an option, so they didn't really involve themselves with it. So
no, it's just oh, we have consoles. It's just they never worried about it for those 10 years.
They just
so
did
why
PC if they're
really worry about it now?
But consoles are more accessible, so obviously PC gaming wasn't going to take off as much. But I think the next generation may, since they have access to consoles and PCs, maybe the next generation we'll see an increase in the Chinese game industry.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe even some Chinese game developers. Who knows?
If they open up, my gosh, I mean, just that's going to be quite something.
Okay, so I'm going to let Marshall make a closing statement because got some new stuff for the channel. Before we wrap up, I want to make this announcement. So, Just Cause 3 and Fallout 4 stuff. I'm going to do some Fallout 4 compilation of stuff after I put up my review. Yes, I'm still working on that. It's super late, but what the heck, I'm doing it anyways. But I gave Marshall some footage today. He's going to probably be a part on the channel. You won't see any original content from it. Well, kind of original, but he'll be taking some of the footage that we give to him. He might be editing some of it up, doing some creative montages and everything. So I guess you can just show real briefly what your plans are for that, Marshall.
It should be pretty exciting. This program is fairly limited, but I have some ideas I'm working on right now as we speak, actually. It's a Planet Earth parody, so it should be pretty great. I don't want to spoil it too much, so...
Nice. So do you have... or no, we won't even say when it's coming out, because...
I have no idea.
You guys might not even be keeping up on it, so...
Yeah.
It'll be coming out sometime in the future.
By the way, Marshall, I got plenty of stuff I could use someone's help montaging.
All right, sounds good.
So we'll just get the stuff to you whenever you're ready for some footage. We'll give it to you.
All
and
right.
So things are looking good. And coming up in March, next podcast, it'll be basically GamerSlice's for 1 year anniversary. So we might share some statistics with you, just share some plans, and woo. So anyways, thank you guys.
What kind of statistics? What does this mean?
Oh, I don't know. I might share something our views went up and stuff. I don't know, just kind of our milestones and where we're headed for the next anniversary year. So, okay. Thank you, Marshall, for coming in and doing this. Diego as well. And you guys are kind of part of the channel, anyways. But still thank you. And thank you guys to anybody who watched this. I think we ran maybe almost 10 minutes over 30, but we'll try to keep it 35 minutes. 30 to 35 minutes in the future. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you guys on the next episode.
Later.
Broadcast out.
Yeah.